So we're going to go to our third guest, and we have Wim joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us, Wim. Hello, how you doing?
Hi, Sarah. How are you doing?
Yeah,
and now
I'm good,
you're
thanks.
in Belgium, so next to where Gregor's company is located. So we can do it in Dutch if you want.
I don't know if I'd be able to understand you, but I'll try.
Yeah, maybe Greg will understand some words, but
I do admit I have been learning a bit of Swedish, but I don't think I could learn.
It's almost the same. Some words sound familiar if you do
Yeah.
it if you speak them in Dutch, but yeah, it's still something different. So
Thank you.
Sorry.
So thank you for joining us, Wim. Do you want to introduce yourself to the audience first and tell them a bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so for the people who don't know me, I'm Wim Matthyssen. I'm located in Belgium. It's a small country between the Netherlands and France. In my daily job, I work as an Azure technical advisor. So I give all kind of advice on different Azure-related projects. My co-workers are working on. I also deliver workshops and trainings. I'm also an Azure MVP, and I run a user group with some friends of mine. So that's awesome. Me in a nutshell, I think.
I don't know about you, but I'm always terrible at introducing myself. I never know what to say and what not to say.
It depends. If you're doing a talk, it comes automatically, I think. But it's sometimes it's strange to do it because you think most people will probably already see me on some socials, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, or whatever. So, but it's sometimes difficult. It depends.
So I think I want to chat to you about communities and running communities, because I think that's how we connected first. When I think when we both became aware of each other in the community and running the various different events. And you said your run, now let me get this correct, because you guys have an awesome name. It's the Microsoft Cloud and Client Management Community. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, and it's MC2MC, and that's why the 2 is in the middle. So it was something Peter the Tender came up on. So quite a spectacular name, quite a long name if you pronounce it, but the short name is quite good, to be honest. Yeah. So when I started off with the community in the beginning, I was a member of another community, more focusing on System Center and Hyper-V. But I evolved and changed into Azure, and that's why I started talking with some other people. And I think it was when we went the last time to Ignite in Florida. I think you even did a talk over there. I think it was the last live one. We started chatting and thinking about maybe we need to start up a new community in Belgium, focusing on the combination of Microsoft 365 and Azure. Because most user groups mostly focus on just one topic. So you have the Azure user groups focusing on the DevOps part, you have AKS user groups, and so on and so on. But we wanted to bring two parts together that were quite integrated with each other. And then we started off, I think it was right before COVID. We had our first in-person event at the Microsoft offices in Belgium, in Brussels. So I think it was around February 20. So COVID was already in China, and it was spreading in the world. So we just went live. We had a lot of people. I think it was around 100 even. Wow. So it was quite nice. And then a month later, everything dropped. And there we were. Stopped organizing in-person events. So our idea was to start off with 3 monthly in-person events at different locations in Belgium, so that everybody had the opportunity. Not everybody can drive from one side. Belgium is not that big, but we have a lot of traffic, to be honest, and a lot of traffic jams. So and I'm pinpointed, but with COVID situation, we had to change and rethink it quite quickly. So
So have you mostly been running virtual events, or have you stopped running your user group during the pandemic? What's been the situation for you?
When COVID hit, we were thinking, what are we going to do? And then somebody came up, like most user groups, maybe we start off with doing some virtual events. But the first thing was, how are we going to organize it? Are we going to use Teams? Are we going to use StreamYard like this? Are we going to use Zoom or whatever? And because we're Microsoft user group, we're focusing on Teams. But we started off, I think our first virtual event was in March or April 20, I think. And we used Teams Live, but for us, we found the interaction. There's no interaction with the speakers and with people attending. So I think the month later, we already switched to a normal Teams event. And then, to be honest, everybody is quite controlled not to unmute themselves when people are speaking. And so we started off with monthly events doing on Teams on, I think it's the third Thursday of every month.
Okay.
Then changing topics, and most of the times we had 2 people speaking around Microsoft 365 related topics, and then 2 people focusing on Azure, whatever they wanted to talk about in Azure. So then we had a mix, and people seems to like it because our attendees are going worldwide these days, and we have also a lot of speakers from. That's the easy thing with doing it online. You can invite whoever you want to invite, or people can list on our CFP page, and then we choose the speakers. But it's for us, it's not that difficult to find someone to speak at our user group, to be honest. In the beginning, it was difficult, but now, it's we're filled up. We can do it for a few more years, but we hope we can do it in person again quite rather quickly. We need to find some combination doing it maybe in a hybrid setup, because I see some user groups doing the combination. But you need to have a location with all the equipment, and are you going to invite the speakers to come over to the location, or some speakers doing it remotely, if they're from a country far away, for example. So it depends, and I think we still need to think how we're going to handle it.
Yeah, I think you've touched on quite a few points there. So if we go back to when running the virtual events, it's been fantastic being able to attend them, even just as an attendee myself, jump on a stream and join in that user group, or like you say, get speakers from all around the world, because I've had the opportunity to speak at user groups in New Zealand, which I probably wouldn't have been able to allow or fly 24 hours to speak for 45 minutes. So it's been great that way. Albeit it's been massively stressful, I think, obviously, because there's a pandemic going on and other things, but it's been fantastic to have that kind of opportunity. I think, like you said, you've found tons of speakers and you've grown that audience. Has, with the going internationally outside of just Belgium people, have you had more interaction in your meetups, or has it still been very quiet, or how's that been for you?
It depends. It seems some people, even if they're in a virtual situation, they're sometimes shy to open or to mute, and most questions come from the chat, and we try to pick them up, and then we try to ask the person asking the question to unmute and ask the question. But it depends. But mostly we have around 40 people, I think. But the thing, we asked the speakers also if you're able to record it, and we place them all on our YouTube. But with the situation changing, it's starting to get difficult, because speakers are prepping for in-person events, and then some bigger events don't want those sessions to be recorded, so they don't bring the session 2 months before the event or something. So that's another situation we're coming into. So it's difficult, but most of the time the interaction is quite okay. Mostly we unmute after the speaker has done speaking, and then if we pick up some questions in the chat, we ask them himself if people don't want to ask it or don't want to mute. But
I think for me, at least, the interaction part of the user groups is probably the most valuable. Yes, I love to hear people come and speak, and I've heard fantastic topics and things like that, but those after chats over a beer and a slice of pizza and making those connections and just sharing the fun stories of what your day's been like or whatever with each other, those are the bits that I love, and I wish we could find a way of translating that more in the virtual world, because I don't think anybody has the right answer to be able to have that collaboration. I know we've got things like breakout rooms inside teams and things like that, but that feels very forced a little bit.
Yeah, it's strange. We also have something after, the speakers have gone. We have something, bring your own drinks, go to your fridge, pick up your drink, and have a chat. But yeah, it depends. Sometimes some people hang around, and you're chatting and talking for an hour, 2 hours, but sometimes everybody drops out because we also do 4 sessions, so it's quite some time. It's quite long, 45 sessions, so it depends. But like you said, with the in-person events and especially with the user groups, so you have the interaction, you have the drinks, and people are less shy to ask your question. They don't need to ask it in public, but they can go to the speaker and ask their question directly. And that's, for some people, it seems to be easier, I think. So let's hope we can start kicking off those in-person events again.
Absolutely. So you said you were hoping to go back to in-person. Is that something you've got planned right now, or is that something that's still...
It's a surprise. Normally we will have something.
That's okay.
We're planning something for in June, so it's in the works.
So like you said as well, though, it's figuring out whether you go back to just being in person and just go back to the old way of doing user groups, or whether you figure out how to put a camera and microphones and stream it and have that kind of interaction. Have you thought about the logistics of doing that at all, Wim?
I think if COVID stays away, let's hope. Normally we'll do something in live or in a hybrid setup every 3 months, and then maybe in between we can still do something virtually, and we can invite the speakers who are not able to come to Belgium, because we're still a user group. We can't fly in everybody because that costs some money. If we have some sponsor first, if you maybe want to plan, we're also thinking maybe of planning a day event, and that's something else. Then probably you need to look for sponsors, but that's a complete other setup and a complete other planning, and there are a lot more things you need to think about, to be honest. So setting up something virtually is then quite easy to I think so.
Here in Glasgow, and the user group I run with Gregor, we did an event last month, a few weeks ago, and we just had a few people in to get the feeling of how do we organise an in-person event again, and we're doing one in June, and trying to figure out the logistics of, if my speaker's remote, can the TV or projector give enough sound, and then how do we interact with them? How does the speaker see the audience? How does the audience ask questions? There's lots of logistics around figuring that out. It's really easy here because I've got my camera and it's all set up, right? And it's like, does the venue have good Wi-Fi? If not, does it have Ethernet? And then I think from my point of view as an organizer, there's quite a lot of effort that would go into doing those hybrid events, and it's whether there's any benefit necessarily to the community doing it that way or not. I don't know if you guys have had the same thoughts around it, or have I overthought it, Wim?
The thing is, I think if you do it hybrid and you're still a user group, so I think people don't need to pay for their ticket. Even if they need to pay for the ticket, probably their work is paying for the ticket or something. I think people are, I will subscribe and I will come, and then you organize something at a sponsored place or something, and then just 20 or 30 people come up, and you were planned to have around 50-60 people. We need to see how it's going to work, and if people, it's a switch for everybody. Everybody was used of sitting in their house for 2 years almost, so I think not everybody will come out that easy, and especially if it's in the evening, because user groups mostly are after work. And yeah, we'll see when we organize something for the first time. And to be honest, I'm quite surprised also, because on Saturday I also do a talk for a German user group, also for a global Azure, and they're doing the hybrid setup.
Okay.
So German speaking people are going over there, and I think Carlo and myself will do it from our home office.
Yeah.
So I'm quite curious how that's going to work. Are people able to pick up a mic and ask a question directly? And do we see them projected somewhere on our side? Yeah, we'll see. So I have the same questions, but I think we just need to go with it, test it out, and see whatever best works, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So running the user group, I found that I've had to learn random things like how to create graphics and create banners and weird, strange things like that. Wim, what strange skills have you had to learn running a user group, do you think?
So creating slide decks, creating pictures with the speakers on there, all those things. How do we need to get something like a virtual ticket so people can accept? How do we need to do it? Some use Meetup, we use Eventbrite. So yes, all those things. Setting up the website, see that everything interacts with the website. So the Eventbrite is on the page, the tickets come in, we have a mail flow behind it. And luckily we're a mix of people with different skill sets, and that kind of really helps. And nice thing is somebody new joined our board some months ago, and he's more into the Power Platform, so probably he will learn us some tips and tricks around that also. So maybe we can automate some things in a more easier and more sufficient way than we're doing it now.
Awesome. Sounds really good. I definitely do have to look at automating a bit more of what we do, because there's a lot of manual work for sure.
A lot of work, yeah.
For anybody thinking about starting a user group, because I imagine people being able to actually have in-person ones may spark a whole new version of user groups again, or new generation. What tips would you give them to starting a user group?
You really need to love doing it, because just like with Gregor is studying and Shabazz writing books, if you don't like and don't want to spend the time to organize those things, just don't do it, because it will take up some time of your family time and hobby time. And for me, I really like doing it, enjoying it, and also the speaking. I love it, but I don't think it's for everybody. It's easy starting up, but keeping the pace going, that's something different, I think. And if you then really are not into it, probably your user group will go away quite rather quick, I think. And you also need to get your own audience and your own community around it. So don't start up a user group if there's already an Azure user group number 50 in your country, for example, because probably that won't work.
Yep. And I think as well, ask for help, ask friends, ask colleagues to help you, because I think, is there 3 or 4 of you that run the user group? Is that right?
We're with 9 already, I
9.
think. And even 2 people working at Microsoft. So Peter the Tender does really help us. We have Ken, we have Team Hermie, we have Team de Keurklarer. Frank has joined us. We also have Micha, myself, Jasper, and another Peter also. So we're with quite a big bunch.
Yeah, having that team to spread out the different tasks and help definitely does help.
We try to, but for 1 month it works better for some of us, and the other month it works. But the flow goes on, and there's always somebody that can pick up a role if needed. And we have I think this evening, even after, I have another session after this. This evening we have a monthly call, and then we plan our for now, it's still an online one.
Awesome.
With a focus on Belgium speakers, if I'm still correct. Yeah, it was on Belgium speakers. So yeah.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Wim, for joining me today and sharing your insights into running a user group community. Here's hoping we all get back to in person and figure out how to run them in person again. Please do check out the community if you're over there in Belgium or anywhere in the world. And yeah, thank you so much, Wim, for your time.
Yep, you're welcome. Bye-bye.